Lucas Ford tugged at his jacket's collar as the shuttle docked at Dalvis Station. From the observation window, he could see the station's outer shell, a massive construct of silvery panels reflecting the nearby star's light. It looked alien in every sense, a stark contrast to Earth's more utilitarian orbital platforms. Lucas took a deep breath, knowing this was no ordinary mission. As a diplomat for the United Terran Alliance, he was here to represent humanity in a series of high-stakes negotiations with the Anthrin Collective. When the shuttle's doors hissed open, he was greeted by an assistant, a young man named Damien Salazar. "Welcome to Dalvis, sir. The Anthrin delegation is already waiting in the conference chamber." "Great," Lucas said, rolling his shoulders as he stepped out. "Are we still scheduled for an informal introduction first?" Damien nodded. "That's right. It'll give you and High Envoy Kara a chance to meet before the formal talks begin. Word is, she's one of the Anthrin's top negotiators, direct, uncompromising, but fair." "I'll take fair over uncompromising any day," Lucas replied. "Let's not keep them waiting." Lucas followed Damien down the station's winding corridors, past windows offering glimpses of the stars and various alien vessels docked nearby. The station buzzed with activity, humans, Anthrins, and a few other species Lucas couldn't readily identify, all moving through the halls. Some were technicians, others envoys or traders. The place was a hub of commerce and diplomacy, a neutral ground for civilizations trying to coexist in a galaxy that wasn't always kind. As they approached the conference chamber, Lucas slowed his pace. "Anything else I should know before we go in?" Damien hesitated, then said, "Only that the Anthrins value directness. They're not much for small talk. They respect strength, not in a physical sense, but in conviction. If you show that you believe in what you're saying, they'll listen." Lucas nodded thoughtfully. "Got it. I'll keep that in mind." When they stepped into the chamber, Lucas immediately noticed the tall figure of High Envoy Kara standing near a central table. She was distinctly Anthrin, her elongated features and pale green skin marked her as unmistakably alien. Her eyes, a deep shade of violet, flicked over to him as he entered. Despite her imposing presence, there was a calmness in her expression, a sense of measured calculation. "High Envoy Kara," Lucas said, inclining his head slightly. "I'm Lucas Ford, representing the United Terran Alliance. It's an honor to meet you." Kara studied him for a moment, her gaze unwavering. "Lucas Ford." "The honor is mine," she replied in a voice that carried a melodic, almost musical cadence. "You've traveled far to be here. I trust your journey was uneventful?" "It was," Lucas replied, smiling faintly. "And I trust you've had enough time to familiarize yourself with the station?" Kara gave a slow nod. "Dalvis is adequate." Lucas chuckled, catching the faintest trace of amusement in her tone. "I've heard it called that more than once. Still, it serves its purpose. I hope we'll find it a productive environment for our discussions." "Productive," Kara echoed. "We shall see." Damien stepped forward and handed Lucas a data tablet. "Here's the summary of our current agenda, sir." Lucas took the tablet, glancing at the details before turning back to Kara. "Before we dive into the official schedule, I'd like to take a moment to learn more about your expectations, High Envoy. What would you consider a successful outcome for these talks?" Kara tilted her head slightly, her violet eyes narrowing in thought. "A successful outcome would be one that ensures mutual prosperity without compromising the integrity of our people. We seek partners, not subordinates." "I understand," Lucas said. "And I hope to show you that our goals align. Humanity isn't here to dominate or impose, we're here to build something lasting, something beneficial for both sides." Kara's gaze softened just a fraction. "We shall see if your words hold truth, Lucas Ford. I have no tolerance for empty promises." "I wouldn't expect you to," Lucas replied evenly. "I prefer to let actions speak louder than words." Kara regarded him for a moment longer, then gave a small, approving nod. "Very well. Let us proceed to the informal discussion room. I believe that a more relaxed setting will make it easier to determine how sincere your intentions truly are." As they left the chamber, Damien fell into step beside Lucas. You handled that well, he whispered. Lucas shot him a sidelong glance. Thanks. But I get the feeling this is going to be more challenging than I anticipated. Damien smirked. That's why they pay you the big bucks, sir. The informal discussion room was a smaller, more comfortable space with plush seating and a panoramic view of a nearby nebula. The vibrant colors of the nebula's gases illuminated the room in hues of blue and gold, creating a tranquil atmosphere. Kara took a seat across from Lucas, her posture as straight as a spear. I've read the preliminary proposals you sent, she said without preamble. They are idealistic. Do you truly believe humanity is capable of meeting such lofty goals? Lucas leaned forward slightly, resting his forearms on the table. I do. But it's not just about belief, it's about commitment. We've made mistakes in the past, just like any civilization, but we're learning. That's why we're here. We're willing to adapt, to listen, and to grow. Kara studied him, her expression unreadable. And what of your military presence in this sector? Some would say it sends a mixed message. Lucas hesitated for half a heartbeat before responding. Our presence is not meant to threaten. It's meant to ensure that, if problems arise, we have the means to protect what we've built together. But our primary focus is on cooperation, not conflict. Kara's lips quirked into a faint, almost imperceptible smile. Words carefully chosen. I respect that. But words alone will not sway my delegation. We require action. You'll have it, Lucas promised. What kind of action would you consider meaningful? Kara leaned back slightly, her fingers steepled in front of her. A demonstration of trust. Your people have offered to share technology, but we have yet to see evidence that such an exchange will be equitable. If you can provide something tangible, something that proves your commitment to mutual benefit, then you will have taken the first step toward earning our trust. Lucas nodded slowly. That's fair. I'll see to it that we bring something meaningful to the table. Something that shows we're not just paying lip service to partnership. Kara's gaze softened slightly, though her tone remained measured. Very well. I will inform my delegation of your intent. But know this, Lucas Ford, my people have been disappointed before. Do not make the mistake of underestimating the importance of your next move. Lucas met her gaze steadily. Understood. I won't let you down. Kara stood, her movements fluid and graceful. Then let us adjourn for now. We will reconvene tomorrow to continue these discussions. Lucas rose as well, offering a polite nod. I look forward to it. As Kara exited the room, Damien stepped forward, looking impressed. You're off to a good start, sir. Lucas exhaled, rubbing the back of his neck. Good start or not, this is going to take more than diplomacy. It's going to take trust, and that's never easy. Damien grinned. Nothing worth doing ever is. Did you read the latest report from operations? Damien asked as he handed Lucas a fresh cup of tea. The two men sat in the small diplomatic lounge attached to their quarters on Dalvis Station. Beyond the wide observation window, the stars were bright pinpoints against the vast blackness of space. Lucas set down the tablet he'd been reviewing and accepted the tea gratefully. Yeah. Another supply chain disruption on our end, plus a few Entheran trade envoys are apparently stonewalling Kara's team. That's going to complicate things. Damien leaned back, letting out a low whistle. What do you think she'll do about it? I don't know yet, Lucas admitted. But if the collective's trade reps keep dragging their feet, we're going to have to figure out how to show them we're serious, without looking like we're pushing too hard. Sounds like you've got a fine line to walk, Damien said. And the rest of us will be right there behind you, holding our breath. Lucas smirked. As long as you don't let go, we might just pull this off. Their banter was interrupted by a soft chime from the room's comm panel. Lucas walked over to it and tapped a button. Kara's voice, smooth and commanding, came through the speaker. Lucas Ford. I understand there has been another delay with the shipment you promised. I would like to meet to discuss this, oversight. Lucas could hear the faint edge of frustration in her tone, though she kept her words measured. Of course, High Envoy, he replied. What time would be most convenient? Immediately, she said. There is a meeting room on the upper level. I trust you know the way. Lucas glanced at Damien, who raised an eyebrow. We'll be there shortly. Once the calm link closed, Damien stood and grabbed his own tablet. I'll come with you, sir. Lucas raised a hand. You don't need to. With all due respect, Damien interrupted, if this is about logistics, you're going to need someone who knows the details inside and out. That's me. Lucas sighed but nodded. All right. Let's go. The upper-level meeting room was an intimate space designed for smaller diplomatic discussions. Its walls were lined with subtle, glowing panels that shifted colors to reflect the mood in the room, a feature that had always struck Lucas as a bit gimmicky. Kara was already there when they arrived, standing at the head of a sleek table. She was reviewing a holographic projection of the shipment routes, her violet eyes narrowing slightly as she noted the delays. High Envoy, Lucas said as he stepped inside. This is my operations lead, Damien Salazar. He's been managing the logistical side of our efforts. Kara's gaze flicked to Damien, who gave a polite nod. High Envoy. I hope you can shed some light on the situation, Kara said, her tone neutral. The delays are beginning to erode the trust we have worked so hard to establish. Damien stepped forward, tapping on his tablet to bring up his own set of charts. We've encountered a few unexpected bottlenecks, mostly due to local regulatory issues at one of our distribution points. We're actively addressing those and have rerouted several shipments to ensure they reach their destinations on time. Kara folded her arms, studying the information. And you believe these measures will prevent further disruptions? That's the goal, Damien said, glancing at Lucas before continuing. We've also dispatched additional support staff to help expedite customs clearance. It's not an instant fix, but it should stabilize the flow within the next 2 cycles. Lucas stepped in. We recognize the inconvenience this has caused, High Envoy, and we're taking it seriously. I'll personally oversee the adjustments to make sure we don't encounter this issue again. Kara considered his words carefully. Very well. I will inform my delegation of your assurances. But understand that if these disruptions continue, our willingness to collaborate may be called into question. Understood, Lucas said firmly. We won't let it come to that. After the meeting, Lucas and Damien lingered in the corridor outside. She's sharp, Damien said. And she doesn't miss a single detail. That's what makes her so effective, Lucas replied. We need to stay one step ahead if we're going to keep this partnership on track. I'll get started on implementing those changes right away, Damien said. And I'll keep you updated on the progress. Lucas clapped him on the shoulder. Thanks, Damien. I appreciate it. As they made their way back to their quarters, Lucas found himself replaying Kara's words in his mind. She was pragmatic, yes, but there was also something underneath that, an unspoken pressure she seemed to be carrying. It wasn't just about the shipments or the trade routes, it was something deeper, something personal. Damien, Lucas said as they entered the lounge, what's your read on her? Kara, I mean. Damien frowned slightly. Honestly? She's clearly driven, and she holds herself to a high standard. But I get the sense she's dealing with more than just professional obligations. Maybe she's under pressure from her leadership to prove something. Lucas nodded slowly. I think you're right. If that's the case, then building trust with her is going to be about more than just logistics. It's going to be about showing her that we're in this for the long haul. Well, you've got your work cut out for you, Damien said with a wry grin. But hey, if anyone can pull it off, it's you. Lucas laughed softly. You're not getting a bonus for that compliment, you know. Worth a shot, Damien replied with a shrug. Their conversation shifted to the day's agenda, and Lucas felt a faint flicker of optimism. The path ahead wouldn't be easy, but with Damien's support and a growing understanding of Kara's perspective, he believed they had a chance. They just had to stay focused and keep working together. Lucas Ford adjusted his tie, glancing into the polished surface of the panel beside him. The station's diplomatic suite had a small lounge area, nothing extravagant, but it was comfortable enough. Damien entered the room with a tablet in hand, a hint of irritation flashing across his face. "Just got word from operations," Damien said, setting the tablet down on the small table. "Another delay on that shipment. The crew says they're still waiting for clearance at Orbital Hub 6. Lucas exhaled sharply, pinching the bridge of his nose. "Great. Just what we needed." "There's more," Damien said. "Kara's people sent over a revised version of the trade agreement. They added a whole section about resource sovereignty. Basically, they want guarantees that we won't just take their tech and run." Lucas sat down in one of the chairs, tapping the armrest thoughtfully. "It's not an unreasonable request, considering the circumstances. We'll need to address it, but we can't make it seem like we're just caving in. Otherwise, it'll look like we're desperate. Maybe we should propose a joint oversight committee," Damien suggested. "It's neutral enough to show we're willing to cooperate without giving them the upper hand." "That's a solid idea," Lucas said. "Let's draft something along those lines. I'll bring it up at the next session." Just then, a soft chime echoed from the door. Lucas and Damien exchanged a glance before Lucas called out, "Come in." The door slid open to reveal Kara. She stood there, tall and composed, her hands clasped behind her back. "Hi, Envoy," Lucas said, rising to his feet. "What can I do for you?" Kara stepped into the room, her violet eyes scanning the space before settling on Lucas. "I wish to discuss the resource sovereignty clause before our next official meeting. I believe it is better to address these matters directly, without unnecessary formalities." Lucas motioned to the chair across from his. "Please, have a seat." Kara inclined her head and sat down, her posture as straight as ever. Damien lingered nearby, his tablet at the ready. Lucas leaned forward slightly, his hands resting on his knees. "I appreciate you bringing this up. It's always better to tackle potential issues early rather than letting them fester. What are your main concerns with the current proposal?" Kara tilted her head slightly, her expression calm yet intense. "Our collective is wary of one-sided agreements. We have been burned before by so-called partnerships that turned into exploitation. The section I proposed is intended to ensure that both parties share not only the rewards, but also the responsibilities." Lucas nodded slowly. "That makes sense. If I were in your position, I'd likely feel the same way. But how do we balance the need for security with the flexibility both sides require to adapt as the partnership grows?" Kara's lips curved into a faint, thoughtful smile. "You raise a valid point. Flexibility is indeed crucial. Perhaps we could create a joint oversight body, one that would regularly review the terms and suggest adjustments as needed." Damien raised an eyebrow, glancing at Lucas. "That's what we were just considering, actually." Kara's gaze flicked to Damien. "I see. Then it seems we are aligned on at least one matter." Lucas leaned back slightly, considering her proposal. A joint oversight committee could work. It would ensure transparency and give both sides a voice in the long-term management of the agreement. "Let's start drafting the framework for that. Damien, can you pull together the relevant clauses from the existing agreements?" "Already on it," Damien said, tapping rapidly on his tablet. Kara observed him for a moment before returning her attention to Lucas. "There is one other matter I wish to discuss, Lucas Ford. Your cultural exchange initiative." Lucas's eyebrows lifted. "What about it?" Kara hesitated briefly, a rare show of uncertainty. "While the idea is intriguing, I have concerns about how it will be received by my people. Many of them are wary of human influence. They fear it will dilute our traditions." "That's understandable," Lucas said. "Change can be difficult, especially when it feels like it's coming from an outside force. The last thing I want is for our exchange to be seen as a threat to your identity. Perhaps we can approach it from a different angle. Instead of focusing on what each side has to gain, we could emphasize what we can learn from each other. Mutual respect, rather than persuasion." Kara's eyes narrowed slightly, as if weighing his words. You speak of respect, yet respect must be earned, not merely declared. Absolutely, Lucas agreed. And I don't expect anyone to just take my word for it. That's why we start small. A single pilot program and exchange of a few cultural artifacts, perhaps. Let your people see that we're not trying to take anything away from them. Then, if it's successful, we can expand gradually. Kara was silent for a moment, her fingers steepled in thought. This approach has merit. I will need to consult with my delegation, but I am willing to consider it. That's all I ask, Lucas said. Consider it. If it doesn't feel right, we'll go back to the drawing board. Kara rose from her chair, her gaze steady. Very well. I will discuss it with my team and inform you of their response. Thank you, High Envoy, Lucas said, standing as well. Kara gave a slight nod, then turned and left the room. Damien let out a low breath once she was gone. That went better than I expected. It's progress, Lucas said, crossing his arms as he watched the door slide shut behind her. We're starting to find common ground. But we're not there yet. No, but we're getting closer, Damien said. You think she really means it when she says she'll consider the exchange program? I think so, Lucas said. Kara is not the type to make empty promises. If she says she'll consider it, she will. But whether or not her delegation agrees is another story. Damien nodded. Well, I'll keep working on the logistics side. Focused, and make it clear that this is about mutual understanding, not assimilation. On it, Damien said, heading toward the workstation in the corner. Lucas sat back down, his mind turning over the conversation with Kara. She was an enigma, to be sure, but there were glimpses of something more beneath her composed exterior. She cared deeply about her people and their traditions, yet she was willing to engage, to consider new ideas. That willingness gave him hope that, given time, they might not only reach an agreement but also lay the groundwork for a genuine partnership. All right, Damien called from across the room, I'm pulling together the drafts now. You want me to focus on the pilot exchange proposal first, or the Joint Oversight Committee framework? Start with the exchange proposal, Lucas said. We'll need that ready before the next session. Damien gave a quick thumbs up, already absorbed in his work. As Lucas settled back into his chair, he allowed himself a moment of optimism. It wouldn't be easy, but if they continued to make even small steps forward, there was a real chance to build something worthwhile here. Not just an agreement, but an understanding between their two people that could lead to something far greater. The observation deck was quieter than usual, a hum of the station's systems faint in the background. Lucas Ford stood at the massive viewport, staring out at the swirling nebula beyond. The stars, vibrant against the dark void, seemed to pulse gently as if breathing. He had come here for a few moments of peace, a chance to clear his thoughts before the next round of negotiations. Footsteps approached, measured and deliberate. Lucas didn't have to turn around to know who it was. High Envoy Kara, he said, his voice even. Didn't expect to see you here. Neither did I, she replied, stopping a few paces behind him. But I find this view calming. Lucas turned slightly, a faint smile touching his lips. I suppose even seasoned diplomats need a moment of calm now and then. Kara stepped closer, her gaze fixed on the stars. It is easy to forget the vastness of this galaxy when we are consumed by the minutiae of trade agreements and logistical reports. Agreed, Lucas said. Sometimes it's good to take a step back and remind ourselves why we're here in the first place. Kara glanced at him, her violet eyes thoughtful. And why are you here, Lucas Ford? To be honest, he said, shifting his stance. To prove that our species can be more than just another player in the galaxy. That we can bring something meaningful to the table. She raised an eyebrow. And do you believe you have succeeded? I think we're making progress, Lucas said carefully. But that doesn't mean we can relax. There's still a lot of work to do. Kara nodded slowly. You are more patient than many of your counterparts. That is refreshing. Patience isn't always easy, Lucas admitted. But I've learned that trying to rush things usually leads to mistakes. Kara was silent for a moment, then said, "It must be difficult, balancing the expectations of your leaders with the realities of these negotiations." "It is," Lucas said. "But I imagine you know that struggle just as well as I do." She turned to fully face him, her expression neutral yet curious. "You are more perceptive than most." "Yes, the weight of my delegation's expectations is not lost on me. I must ensure that their interests are protected, even as I seek common ground." Lucas nodded. "It's not an easy line to walk." "No," she agreed. "It is not." There was a brief silence, filled only by the distant hum of the station. Then Lucas gestured to a nearby bench. "Care to sit for a bit?" Kara considered him for a moment, then inclined her head. "Very well." They moved to the bench, settling into the soft seating. Kara kept her posture straight, her hands resting lightly on her lap. Lucas leaned back slightly, his arms on the bench's backrest. "I think we've been doing a decent job so far," Lucas said. "But I can't help wondering if there's something more we're missing." Kara glanced at him, her expression unreadable. "Such as?" "Maybe it's about trust," Lucas said after a moment. "We've been focused on the technical details, the trade agreements, and the logistical plans. But real trust can't be built on contracts alone. It has to come from understanding." Kara tilted her head. "You believe that understanding can bridge the divide between our peoples?" "I do," Lucas said. "But it's not just about what we say. It's about what we do. And about the connections we make, person to person." Kara regarded him thoughtfully. "You speak of understanding, yet understanding is not easily achieved. It requires more than words." "I know," Lucas said. "That's why I think it starts with us. If we can show our people that a human and an Enteran can work together, can trust each other, then maybe they'll start to believe it's possible on a larger scale." Kara's gaze softened slightly. "You are suggesting that we set an example." "Exactly," Lucas said. "We can't force anyone to trust us. But we can show them what trust looks like." Kara was silent for a moment, then nodded. "There is logic in what you say. But it will not be easy." "No," Lucas said with a faint smile. "It never is." They sat in quiet reflection for a while, the stars continuing their slow dance outside the viewport. Then Kara turned to Lucas, a faint smile touching her lips. "You are not what I expected, Lucas Ford." He chuckled softly. "I'll take that as a compliment." "It is," she said. "In my experience, many human diplomats rely on bravado and empty assurances. You, however, seem genuinely committed to this endeavor." "I am," Lucas said simply. "Because I believe it's worth it." Kara nodded, her expression more open than before. "Then perhaps there is hope for this partnership after all." The words hung in the air, a quiet acknowledgement of the bond that was starting to form. Lucas felt a faint sense of relief, as though a weight he hadn't fully acknowledged was beginning to lift. They still had a long road ahead, but this moment, shared in the stillness of the observation deck, felt like a step in the right direction. In the large central conference chamber, Lucas sat beside Damien, going over the final revisions to the trade agreement on their tablets. The document was a mosaic of carefully negotiated clauses, each one the product of countless hours of debate, compromise, and recalibration. Nearby, Kara and her closest advisors reviewed the Entheran delegation's counterpart version. The atmosphere in the room was tense, but not hostile. Everyone knew they were on the verge of a breakthrough. Damien leaned toward Lucas. "You think this latest revision will pass their scrutiny?" Lucas tapped the screen and scrolled down to a key clause. "It should. We addressed their primary concerns and balanced it with some of our own. If they ask for any more major changes, I don't think either side will agree to move forward." "That's what I'm worried about," Damien muttered. "One wrong step now and the whole thing could unravel." "Let's not think about that," Lucas said quietly. "Let's focus on what we've accomplished so far. We've come this far. They'll see the value." Across the room, Kara set her tablet down and stood. Her advisors whispered amongst themselves as she approached Lucas and Damien's table. Her gaze was as sharp as ever, but there was a hint of something else: approval, perhaps, or cautious optimism. "Lucas Ford," she said, her voice clear and firm. "Your proposed revisions are acceptable. My delegation agrees to move forward with the agreement, pending final signatures." Lucas stood, nodding politely. "Thank you, High Envoy. I'm glad we were able to reach an understanding." Kara's lips twitched into a faint smile. "I admit, I did not expect our discussions to progress so smoothly toward the end. Your commitment to fairness is unusual, and it has not gone unnoticed." Lucas raised an eyebrow, a hint of humor in his tone. "I'll take that as a compliment." "It is," she replied simply. Damien cleared his throat. "So, what's the next step? Do we prepare the signing ceremony now, or wait until the final details are reviewed?" Kara glanced at Damien, her expression thoughtful. "There will be a brief final review period, no more than 2 cycles. After that, we will conduct the signing ceremony in the main atrium. Both delegations will be present, as well as the station's neutral observers." Lucas nodded. "Sounds good. We'll make sure everything is in place on our end." Kara inclined her head. "Then I will leave you to your preparations. Once the ceremony is complete, I hope you will consider visiting our homeworld, Lucas Ford. There is much about our culture that cannot be understood through words alone." "I'd like that," Lucas said, a genuine smile crossing his face. "Thank you, High Envoy." Kara gave a small, approving nod before turning and walking back to her advisors. Damien watched her go, then turned to Lucas. "Well, that went better than expected," Damien said. Lucas chuckled. "You could say that again. But don't get too comfortable yet. We still need to ensure that everything's perfect for the signing ceremony. No last-minute surprises." "Got it," Damien said, pulling up his notes. "I'll make sure all the logistics are squared away. You just focus on keeping things smooth with Kara." The next 2 cycles passed quickly. Damien was a blur of efficiency, coordinating the final shipment schedules, confirming the ceremonial protocols, and ensuring that the entire delegation, both human and Entheran, were kept up to date. Lucas, meanwhile, worked closely with Kara to finalize the wording of the agreement's preamble. Their discussions were intense but productive, with both sides showing mutual respect and a willingness to compromise. When the day of the signing ceremony arrived, the atrium was transformed into a fitting backdrop for the occasion. The walls were adorned with holographic displays of human and Entheran cultural symbols, side by side, slowly shifting in color and form. A long table sat in the center of the space, flanked by 2 rows of chairs for the delegations. Lucas adjusted his suit as he stood near the table, glancing over at Kara. She was speaking quietly with one of her advisors, her posture as regal and composed as ever. When she caught his eye, she gave him a small, almost imperceptible nod. Damien joined Lucas, holding a datapad and looking somewhat harried. "Everything's ready," he said. "Once the station administrator gives the opening remarks, we're on." Lucas took a deep breath. "Let's make this count." The ceremony itself was a relatively brief affair, considering the months of preparation and negotiation that had led up to it. After the station administrator's welcome speech, Lucas and Kara each gave short addresses, emphasizing the importance of collaboration and mutual respect. The moment of the actual signing was quiet but profound. 2 representatives from different species, sitting side by side, penning their names onto a digital document that would shape their futures. As the ceremony concluded and the room filled with polite applause, Lucas turned to Kara. "Well, we did it." Kara's gaze was steady. "Indeed. It is an achievement that belongs to both of our people." Damien came up behind Lucas, grinning. "Congratulations, sir. And to you, High Envoy." Kara acknowledged Damien with a nod. "Your efficiency and attention to detail were commendable." Damien straightened slightly. "Thank you, High Envoy. That means a lot." Lucas chuckled. "Don't let it go to your head, Damien." "Too late," Damien replied, though his tone was playful. As the crowd began to disperse, Kara stepped closer to Lucas. I hope this is only the beginning of our cooperation, Lucas Ford. There is still much work to be done, but this agreement is a step in the right direction. I agree, Lucas said. And I'm looking forward to seeing what we can accomplish together. Kara's lips curved into the faintest smile. Then I shall see you again soon, Lucas Ford. As she turned to leave, Lucas felt a sense of accomplishment not just for the agreement itself, but for the foundation of trust they had built. With Damien by his side and a path forward now clear, Lucas knew that the real work was just beginning. But for the first time, it felt like something truly meaningful was within reach.